For those of you that are not aware, I do medical transportation. Been doing it for 8 years. I'm going to give you more information about that soon. Definitely want to follow me to get it. Follow Kitchen Nuggets. 2 things that I want to let people know or bring to the awareness of people, period. Especially Hispanics and blacks. Dr. Umar talked about this, and he talked about this all the time. I have not watched Dr. Umar in a very long time, but I'm going to tell you something. That man is absolutely correct when he says that our kids are being diagnosed with all these emotional issues. Then they're being recommended to put on all different kind of medications, and then they have to go to therapy. I take so many black children and Hispanic children to family behavior clinics. Now, I'm not saying that some of these kids don't have psychological issues. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just find it alarming that this many of our children have emotional issues. That leads me to one or two things. We need to definitely check what's going on within our homes or within our children's environment to get it corrected. Or number 2, you definitely need to go get a second opinion, especially if they're talking about putting your kid on some type of medication. Because just because a kid don't want to sit in a desk in a chair for however many hours a day does not mean that they need psychological help. Some kids just got a lot of energy. Now, I'm no therapist, like I say, but I just find it alarming that these many of our kids need psychological help. I mean, it's a lot of our kids. Now, some of them, I didn't have to check a couple of them. But here's the thing. The ones that I've checked or I gave a look to, if they not sitting their little booties down or they don't want to put on their seatbelt or something like that, I give them a look and I say, put on that seatbelt sternly. And they do what I say. So that leads me to another thing, especially with these little boys. Men, if you do not want to be with these women, strap it up. Because these young men, these little boys become young men. And some of these women can't handle these little boys. Because these little boys going to become teenagers. These little boys, we need them not to end up in the system. Because some of these mothers, they not firm enough with these little boys. I mean, they can barely handle the little hot ass girls. But especially these little boys, some mothers can't do it. Because some of these little boys just need a real good butt whooping. Now, I ain't say beat them. I said that some of these little boys just need their booty whooped real good. Or they need somebody that's not going to be like, come on, come on, come on. And then giving them 50 different excuses for why they're doing what they're doing. When the bottom line is this, you just being a tough ass. You just trying to be a little badass. You just trying not to listen to what I'm saying to you. I mean, this is what I'm witnessing. This is what I'm seeing. And this is why I'm giving my opinion on it. Because I don't think that all these little kids that I'm transporting to these places need to go to these places, because this goes on your record and these parents are being recommended by the school to do so. And if they don't take their child to these places to get therapy, then they won't be allowed back into the school. And I just find it amazing that all these kids like I say, some of these kids I interact with, I've seen, of course I've seen it because I transport them. But I don't believe that all these children need to be diagnosed with some type of ADHD or they need to be on all these prescription meds. I don't believe that all these kids all these kids and I'm transporting need this. I'm not saying that some of them don't, You know what I mean? But some of them, like I say, some of them just need to burn off some of that energy, because it's a little rough. Because some of these schools don't even have recess no more. Some of them don't even have PE. We call it PE, physical education, or gym. Some of these schools don't even have that 3 times a week. We had it 3 times a week when I was a kid. Depending on what grade you in. I mean, you used to have PE for a quarter, then you'll have health for the other quarter. And then we also had recess every day. We had recess before or after lunch, depending on what grade you was in or when your lunch hour was. You had that time to socialize. But nevertheless, these kids, some of them just need their ass whooped too. And some of the mothers got to realize they got to be sterner with these boys, because they will run over you. I've watched these little boys try to do it. Watched them. And another thing I've seen too, look, if you are a male that's in a household with your child, or if you around the mother with the child, or whatever the situation is, if that little boy see you disrespecting his mother, he gonna think it's okay to disrespect her as well. Even if you tell him, don't talk to your mother like that, don't do this to your mother, he's not comprehending the don't do, because he's watching you do it. So if you don't want this little boy disrespecting his mom or your wife or your girlfriend or your baby mama or whoever she is, don't you dare do it. Don't you dare, because one thing about it, I can't remember the verse in the Bible. And like I say, the Bible is a great reference book. But a son he gonna follow up behind his father. He's definitely gonna do that. But that's one thing I think that we need to be aware of. When Dr. Umar was talking about that, I didn't pay attention to it firsthand. Like I said, I've been doing transportation for 8 years. But within these last 2 to 3 years, it's an alarming amount of kids that's going to these facilities for an hour once a week for therapy, for mental health. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with going to therapy for mental health, but what I'm trying to say is this: try to figure out other means for your kids to burn off that energy, because sometimes it's not about them being mental. It may just be because your kid has a lot of energy, or it might be because of your parenting skills. It might be because of what's going on in their immediate environment that's making them feel some type of way, especially if they're in a home where it's a lot of abuse and dysfunction that's going on. And you don't want that on your child's record just for like no reason. Because I'm going to assume, I don't know, but I'm going to assume that this stuff stays in your record, especially throughout your schooling, especially if the school is recommending it. I mean, really, do you want that really in your child's record when it's something you could be doing differently? And I've also witnessed some parents, man, I'm not perfect. I don't have any children. It's just stuff that I see. You cannot be out here cussing at your kids, calling them little MFs and little Bs. Come on here, and popping them and stuff like that. Man, I'm telling you, I transport all different kinds. We have to check ourselves for real. And I just be looking like, do you realize that that's just the 4-year-old? Have that 4-year-old or 3-year-old know what you talking about, first of all. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we have to become more aware of. We have to become more aware of what we're doing to our own children and how we can become better adults for our children. And I say our children because we all in the same communities. So the children are within that community and they become products of their environment. So we need to figure out a better way to help them before the police get them. Because if you don't get them now, the police will get them later. And it start while they're young. Gotta start while they're young. You can't wait till they become teens because they already set in their ways. For real, that's something that I really been on my heart lately. Like, man, this is ridiculous how many children I'm taking to these facilities. Dr. Umar is on to something. Say what you will about him now. I don't know what he doing with people money. That I don't know. I'm hoping that he's doing something productive with it, even if he's going from country to state to city, traveling with it. But if that man has reached people and has helped these children and these families throughout their endeavors, I ain't mad at him. I'm not mad at him. Because there's some people out here that's just taking and scamming people and getting their money that look like us, and they ain't helped nobody but themselves. So if that man is going from state to state, city to city, country to country, helping this situation right here and spitting knowledge and giving useful information that's helping parents in this particular situation, then man, I wish him nothing but the best, because he is definitely on to something when he's talking about these kids being diagnosed with all these mental illnesses, and they shouldn't be. He ain't lying. That's your nugget.
Baby.
Nah, you don't understand how a man feel when he's so hungry that he can't even stand still. Feel like an anvil, fell on top of your tummy. You feeling bummy, the type of pain that makes a grown man cry to his mommy. What you expect though? You in the hole now. Up to you to find a way to get your metabolism to slow down. Considering your next meal ain't until sun up. The jail system here is low down. They know it's low down. Yo, that's what the guards, they never look you in your eyes when they step on the yard. They keep the burner by their side, cause it might pop off with some niggas they rub the wrong way. And I just applaud internally, watching them cry while they on the ground, getting kicked around with the sound. Never wish that on no one except these officer clowns. The air gets thick as the inmates surround you. Like, yeah, officer down, right here.
Baby.
Once again, now you walk behind the door that locks. Prison sit next to a dump, so the ghosts stay flock. See the people all around me, so the bros stay locked. But they love when I flow, I get them through it. They love when I flow, so I'm cool with them. On the track, yeah, I grew with them. Telling stories, I'm coming straight out the room with them. Written on any piece of paper that I could find. Gaining respect, cause they realized that I had the mind. To myself, I stayed till the day that I had to prove I was the dude. Any spit that was incomparable to. There was a dude, plenty niggas were giving compliments to, saying he might be better. I had to conquer him too, and I did, but his crew wasn't with it. But there was nothing they could do. Man, I mean, even he had to admit it. But the pride in his chest made him feel they were right. In them 3 years boxing made me feel like a fight. So nah, you don't understand how a man feel when he's so hungry that he can't even stand still. Feel like an anvil, fell on top of my stomach. I am diminished, the type of pain that makes me wanna go insane. Yo, I'm finished. I hopped up off of my bunk, took it right to the door. Belly aching, I'm dim